Welcome to the Chicago Bears Podcast, a presentation of ESPN Chicago, Chicago's home for sports. Here's your host, Pat, the designer.
Bear down, Bears fans. Another edition of the Chicago Bears Podcast coming your way. Pat the designer, Lance Briggs in the building. Bears football is officially back, and we got a jam-packed show for you. Got to talk about what we saw from Justin Fields in that offense. The defense making some noise, Lance. A lot of sacks coming our way. I got an interesting stat for you on that. Get you a little excited about that one.
Okay.
We got to talk about unfortunately, the conversation's here. Velus Jones, is he on your hot seat yet, Lance? We'll talk about that. And finally, what are we getting from these joint practices? Are you getting more from the practice than you are from the game? We'll talk with Lance Briggs, get that inside player insight, all that and more in today's episode of the Chicago Bears Podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Stop playing with us. Bears football is back. I need a bear down in the comments right now from everybody watching this video. Lance, what's going on, brother? I'm hyped right now. Can you tell?
Listen, there's a lot of energy that I can feel through this computer right now. All right. And it's all coming from your side. All right. It's all coming from your side.
Hey, wait, just wait, Lance. When you see me in person, I mean, it's gonna be very, very much. Well, as long as we win it, a lot of energy.
Right. A lot of chest bumping. A lot of chest bumping is what you're saying.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. I'm down for a good chest bump every now and then. See you in the studio. High five, chest bump. I see you still doing the jump bump. Are you doing that one where you like do the jump up as you go into it?
Absolutely.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Listen.
Lord willing, as long as you can do it, as I say, do it. You know, there comes a point where I'm not gonna be able to get off the air, get into the air. You know, and get off the ground. So, while we can, let's do.
Hey, I'm with it. Let's jump into this first quarter, man. Appreciate you guys for showing love, Lance.
First quarter.
We saw the offense cook. But realistically, we're really talking about basically three really good plays. Mm-hmm. But it could be worse. You could have had the latter, right? It could have been Russell Wilson out in Denver playing into the second quarter, struggling against the twos and threes, trying to figure out what the heck's going on here. What'd you see from that first team offense that got you excited? And I mean, at the end of the day, is this Bears team I'm seeing them move in the right direction, or it's preseason, everybody pump the brakes?
Well, it's preseason. It's a glorified practice. What you want to see things be effective. You want to see if you can have an effective run game, if you can have an effective pass game. You want to see where your players are when you get to scrimmage against an opponent, rather than scrimmaging against yourselves. So, with that being said, the things that the two things that I really took from the game is, Justin Fields he escaped kind of a gloomy moment, and it ended up turning into a touchdown. He got into Herbert's hands, and Herbert turned it into a touchdown. He got the ball into DJ Moore's hands, and it turned into a touchdown. These are things that you want to carry over into the season. You want him, when that ball releases from his hands and it gets into his ball carrier's hands, whether it be DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert, whomever, you want them to turn those receptions into touchdowns, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it felt to me like this was an offense that had finally more than one weapon. Now, granted, right, I know everybody's sitting there, they did this against the backups. This is not what it's going to be during it, blah, blah, blah. First off, to all the haters, shut up. It's preseason week 1. We could be excited if we want to. Second off, I think that realistically, though, the things that we saw in that game translate to the regular season. It's not just, it's versus the backups, right? You saw pressure come off that right side. Justin Fields last season probably tucks and runs that. Mm-hmm. Instead, we see him go to that check down, which we've seen him do a lot during training camp, and he gets the ball downfield and is able to make a play. I think that those are two things that we can take away from those plays that actually is something that's exciting.
I think it's also important to know that listen, we don't have to hit home runs. You don't have to hit home runs. You have playmakers. You can check the ball down, be a game manager, keep your defense off the field as long as you possibly can. Run the ball.
Yeah.
Run the ball, run the clock, wear them out, let our defense come in, take the ball away quick, score, and put points on the board offensively. So it's there's a method to the madness, and I think with this new offensive line and the weapons that we have, there's a lot of different ways that we can attack our opponents.
Hey, Darnell Wright's a big boy out there running out there on the right side. I ain't gonna lie. I saw him drop that shoulder. I was like, that seems terrifying coming at you full speed, man. But let me ask you this from a defensive perspective, right? What does it do when you see two of those underneath routes go for as long as we saw them go? As a defender, right, what does that do to your mindset? Because now you're like, okay, now we got to start playing up, but we also got to worry about DJ Moore going over the top.
Well, number one, it's a team effort. You get routes that are close to the line of scrimmage or not far off the line of scrimmage, and those routes turn into touchdowns. Where's the effort? Where are the 11 hats that are supposed to be running to the ball?
Yeah.
What's happening is that ball's being thrown, and if you're not, within 10 to 15 yards from the play, you're turning and watching when you're supposed to be turning and running. So, those type of plays shouldn't go for 30, 40, 50-yard touchdowns at all. They should be run down. You should be, if everybody's hustling, you should at least be able to get them down to make another play.
Yeah, is it? How do you bounce back from that, right? Because to me, I think that's such an asset that the Bears are going to have this season. There's going to be teams we're going to play where you're going to be able to kill them with the underneath because of DJ Moore's speed, because of Khalil Herbert's speed, even as some of those underneath stuff. Tyler Scott is a guy as well. And I think for the offense, that's going to be such an asset because we know what Justin wants to do. He wants to throw the deep ball, but you got to lull that defense in and make them say, hey, we got to stop them at the line of scrimmage.
Well, you got that. Plus, when you have other threats, if you can't just focus on DJ Moore, if you have to put your focus on Tunyon, on Komet, on any of your other receivers, on Mooney, somebody's going to free up. That's going to lead a one-on-one. You're going to get your 50-50 ball, and Justin's going to say, listen, I'll bet on my guy all day. I like this one-on-one. I like this matchup. And I got it, or I get this matchup with DJ Moore. This is the matchup I wanted. I got it. We're going deep.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those where even Matt Eberflus talked about this before this first preseason game. He said they asked him, what does running that 12 personnel do for you? And he said, listen, mismatches everywhere. Like you don't have enough people on the field. And the funniest thing to me is now, right, like seeing DJ Moore's speed in that first game. I've had a chance to see it in person at training camp. I don't think there's many DBs that are going to be able to stand in front of him and keep him from getting to where he wants to go. So you have to contest with that. You also have to contest on the other side with Chase Claypool's size and speed. You got to contest underneath with Darnell Mooney's route running. Now you got Cole Kmet and Robert Tunyon. I think the Bears are going to be able to put mismatches all over this field. Luke Getsy should be able to have a field day.
Yeah, I mean, if they do their homework, they're professionals, so they should be on top of whomever they're going to face ahead of time. Listen, we're going against this linebacker or this safety or whomever, this personnel. This is who we are going to highlight. This is who we're going to expose. It's all about matchups. It's all about who can you expose. You're doing the same thing defensively. You're going to find out who their weakest link is on the offensive line. Well, we're going to find out who their weakest link in their defensive backfield, and we're going to expose them. You know what I mean? We're going to motion guys over. We're going to motion this, and we're going to see if they're going to bump. If they don't bump, if they lock, we know they're in man. Now we know we have exactly what we want. We're going to take advantage of it. And like I said before, that's the matchup I wanted. Here we go.
Yeah.
Football.
That's what I'm waiting for, man. I'm hoping to see more from the Colts, right? Because it was funny because I was like, this is exactly what I wanted to see. Get them in there, make a couple of plays, get them out of there. It just happened to go for 2 touchdowns. But it was also like I was sitting there like, man, I really wanted to see him throw a ball downfield. Like I want to see if that DJ Moore connection was legit that we've been seeing in training camp. So I think there's still more to see heading into the Colts. I do want to get your thoughts as we head into this second quarter. On the defense, Lance. Second quarter is brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana. See Black Veil Bridges and VV on September 28th at Hard Rock Live. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Lance, the defense looked good. And without a lot of names out there, I mean, the Bears had a lot of guys not dressed in whole. Lucas Patrick didn't dress. Nate Davis, DeMarcus Walker, Tremaine Edmonds, Dante Pettis, Mercedes Lewis, Yannick Ngakoue, Jaquan Brisker, but it did not stop the team from doing what they did, and especially on the defensive side, missing two of your pass rushers. I don't know if I say DeMarcus Walker in there. DeMarcus Walker.
Yes, you did.
Without two of your main pass rushers that you brought in, the Bears end up getting 8 sacks from, I believe, 6 different players. What'd you see from the defense that you liked in this game?
Well, 8 sacks from 6 different players is pretty special. And it doesn't matter what unit you're talking about, or in preseason. The best thing about it is this is preseason, so it's vanilla. You're lining up your best 4 against their best 5, and so you're finding your one-on-ones, and to me it says that we're winning our one-on-ones, and that also is a credit to coaching. It's a big credit to the coaches that are instilling these fundamentals in these defensive linemen. When you have an opportunity to win, we like to call it bone on bone. When you have that opportunity, you get your one-on-one, you win them. So the 8 sacks speaks to that. Plus, we're missing 2 of our better, two of our stout pass rushers as well. Add them to the mix. You're talking maybe 10, 11. That speaks well for this upcoming season. I like that.
It's interesting because I believe Kevin Fishbane from The Athletic tweeted this out. Last time the Chicago Bears had 8 sacks in a preseason game was in 2018. That is the season that they went 12-4. And at that time, the parallel that you can draw there is we didn't have Khalil Mack at that point. Remember, Mack was in a holdout process trying to get the trade done. He didn't show up here until week 1 versus Green Bay.
I remember.
Oh, by the way, we play Green Bay week 1 yet again. I'm just saying, there's some parallels here. No Yannick Ngakoue. Yeah.
Listen, don't get too carried away.
No, too much? Did I read too much into that?
Like, yeah. You're like, hey, I had my pocket protector on my left the whole time. Same time in 2018. No, you gotta listen. There's just good, positive things. There's things to be happy about and to be hopeful. We're all hopeful that the Bears are going to be successful this year.
Don't you take this away from me, Ricky Bobby. No, for sure, though. I'm not going to lie to you. It's one of those things where when you start seeing those tweets on the internet, the vibes are good around the team right now. But it was so funny to me that, we saw this and we played the Packers week 1. I thought that was some interesting parallels. But looking at this defensive side of the football, I will say this. Seeing names of guys who, listen, Trevis Gibson was somebody who I think fell out of favor with the Bears coaching staff, especially in a contract year. They end up putting him on the second team, right? He comes out and has a game, 5 total tackles, 3 solo, 2 assisted, a sack there, tackle for loss as well. When you see a guy do something like that, even though it's with the seconds, in your mind, what do you think that does for him as far as stock on this team? Because it felt like Trevis Gibson might be somebody that the Bears, I don't know if they were out on him completely, but they were like, yeah, we're not going to give you as much responsibility, especially with Yannick Ngakoue being here.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing that it does. It raises your stock. It certainly raises your stock a bit. It tells the staff and the coaches that you're fighting for this position. You're not giving up. You're not giving in. You're fighting for it, and that's a good sign. I'm not sure the situation, or why he's been moved to the 2s.
Yeah.
He was one of the names that were mentioned last year as one of the guys that the main help push this defense to the next level. So it's a little disappointing knowing that he's getting reps with the 2s. However, what's happening today, like today you line up as one of the 2s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out here against the Tennessee Titans and play my ass off, and that's what he did. I'll let the chips fall where they may. And when the coaches, if they want to move me up, they want to keep whatever it is, I'll continue to do exactly what I did against the Titans.
And I think he's still going to have a ton of opportunity here, right? Because of how Flus wants to run this. Flus is putting hockey lineups in on these defensive lines. He like, all right, y'all 5 in. All right, come on out. Yeah. Come on. Or y'all 4 in. All right, let's run it back. We're going to keep this fresh. And I think that's the part that got me excited. The part that got me excited, not seeing Yannick Ngakoue, not seeing DeMarcus Walker, because we know that those are your number ones. What do your number twos look like? We felt like we didn't have a ton of depth on this defensive line before having Yannick Ngakoue. Now I look at it, Zach Pickens has himself a day, being able to cause some havoc. Wanted to see a little bit more out of Javon Dexter, but Zach Pickens to me really stood out. I mean, two solo tackles, 2 assists, a sack for him as well. He got in on the party. I think that now you start to feel a little bit better about the depth of this defensive line heading into this second week versus the Colts and heading closer towards the season.
It's only one game. It's one game. We saw something. We saw some flashes. We saw some promise. We saw some things that we really liked. I'm looking forward to the next game and seeing if we can see some flashes from some of the other guys and continue to see the same flashes from these guys. Consistency. If you can get guys that can turn that flash into consistency, then you become one of the core players of that defense. And that's what we're trying to figure out. Who are the core players outside of the guys that we already know? Who's going to become that core? Whose name are we going to call each week? Are we going to call each game? Whose name are we going to call when that first kickoff comes and our defense runs out and we say, man, I can't wait for this guy, to spark the team. That's like I said, it's one game into the preseason. And as excited as we are, we're like that. You got to be like that old Heinz ketchup bottle. All right, when you had it upside down, you had to wait. Listen, good things come to those that wait. Okay.
Did you just pull out a early '90s Heinz ketchup ad right there?
I sure did.
Did you just bring that out of nowhere? You can't go in with the knife. You saying don't go in with the knife? Just let it happen.
No, man, yeah. Just give it a little.
That's how you do it with the Heinz.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Lance. From a linebacker perspective, right? We've heard all training camp and seen all training camp that Noah Sewell has really played well in camp. He's been flying around. He's had the opportunity due to Jack Sanborn being injured. Sanborn is now back, but it did not stop Noah Sewell from going out there and having himself a day. 4 total tackles for him. Came away with a sack as well. 2 solos, 1 assist. 3 solos, 1 assisted. When you see that continued, no matter where I'm at, I'm going to go out and make a play. Does that make you feel as if there could be a threat for Jack Sanborn being the number 1 guy as the third linebacker on this team? Or does it make you feel like you've been saying the entire time, right? It's preseason. It's one game. If he continues to show this, maybe, but you're not there yet.
No, there's always a threat. There's always a threat of somebody that wants to take your position or somebody that wants it, and is going to push you. They're only going to make each other better. I'll say that much. In the end, they're only going to make each other better. Just know that the competition for that starting job doesn't have to mean that we're enemies, within this confines. It is may the best man win. That's all it is. What you do, like you can only control what you can control. So the plays that Sewell's out there, he has control of how he plays and he's playing at a high level. Now Sanborn's doing the same thing. When Sanborn had an opportunity last year, what he could control was his attitude, his effort, and the way. And he was a dog on every one of those plays, whether he made the play or he didn't. So they're both making an argument for themselves to be that guy. And I'm sure Sanborn watching Sewell from the sideline is thinking to himself, I got to get this thing sped up. I can't wait any longer.
Yeah.
I need to be on the field to compete.
Yeah, I mean, and he was able to get out there as well. Yeah. It's just one of those things where in training camp, right, like when you miss as much time as he did, you saw Noah Sewell fit in perfect. I would think that in the mind of a coach, he's got to look at that and say, listen, we love Jack, But Noah's clicking really well with Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards out there. Now, again, Tremaine Edmonds did not suit up for this game, but in my mind, right, that's where your coach starts to go, hey, listen, I love that we have the depth here, but I have to put the best guy ahead. Who's the best guy? And for me right now, I don't think that Jack Sanborn is leaps and bounds ahead of Noah Sewell. I do think that the veteran experience is going to help him. The veteran experience is one thing that's going to keep him there, and he's a good player when he is in there. But I think that Noah Sewell might be right on his heels trying to get that job.
Let me ask you this question. What has Noah Sewell done in the NFL?
Nothing yet. Well, now the preseason game, but nothing yet.
Nothing. He's done nothing. He's done nothing. And it's not taking things from Mr. Sewell. You know, I have seen Jack Sanborn over a complete football season consistently do what we needed him to do. He go above and beyond, hustle to the ball, effort, make plays. He was impressive.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we want to hand the reins over to the youngster, let's just remember, he hasn't put together an NFL season yet. We know what we got out of Sanborn.
100%.
We have an idea, maybe, what Sewell's done in college and in this preseason game and in training camp. Now, if he continues to be consistent and make those plays and fit in well, it's going to be, you might get a shot. You're probably going to get a shot. Yeah. But let's temper this thing a little bit.
Lance not coming in. He's like, hey, listen, good game. Do it again. I love it. I love it. Good game. Do it again. As we get into the halftime segment here, let's keep this thing moving along. Halftime, the time we can talk about anything. And my God, I would be remiss if I didn't ask Lance Briggs. Lance, is James Harden showing up in a fat suit back in Philly? What's going on out there, dog? Like, what's about to happen?
I don't know, man. I feel like it's like Days of Our Lives back in the day. You know what I mean? It's just a little drama and I'll never play for this guy. It's whatever, man.
It's one of the I'll never play for this guy. All right, ain't nobody finna give you this money. Maybe we can make up.
right. Who wrote that ball? Who wrote the book? Just give me the damn ball. You know what I mean? Like that's the mentality. Like let's play some basketball. Let's go play some football. Let's go play some baseball. Let's get out on the course and go play some golf. Yeah. Don't worry about the little stuff.
Hey, but Daryl Morey is a liar. You can't play for liars, right, Lance? Like you never want to play for somebody that lies to you.
Come on.
Don't take that face.
Come on.
All right, we're gonna move on from that into something more positive. So the fat suit making a comeback is what you're saying. He'll be in that in training camp, fully clothed. That was the wildest thing ever, bro. When James Harden just showed up like 70 pounds, it was like, bro, Magic City Wings can't do that to you. It's impossible. Like they good, but you can't eat that many of them. Something else that I thought would be good for the halftime segment, Lance, the hometown heroes, a Chicago Bears discussion of people who play for the team now that grew up rooting basically for you guys. Because, I think they all are younger than me, which is crazy to say, except Tanya. Tanya is older than me. But somebody gave you this team a very special shout out, and somebody in particular on this panel a very special shout out. Let's listen to what TJ Edwards had to say about our own Lance Briggs.
Yeah, I think everyone would be lying if they didn't say Devin Hester, but, had the jersey and all that. But Briggs, to me, like growing up was like he was like the rock. So he was like the guy that I really looked at. Him and Mike Brown, I thought were nasty back in the day.
You were still beloved by these young boys. Look at that smile on Lance's face. The Rock. Lance Briggs was the Rock to TJ Edwards. When you hear that, when you hear these younger guys coming up who playing your position, right, that looked up to you and have taken things from your game and adapted that, what does that make you feel when you hear that your name is still being echoed in those halls?
It feels good. It feels good, especially from a guy that's playing the same position that I played. The fandom, gets echoed. So the fact that he's playing the weak side backer position, and I was one of the guys that he really looked up to. I guess it's special, man. And it's one of those things that kind of hits the heart, touches the heart a bit. So I'll certainly rooting for him as well as everybody else. But it's pretty awesome that he's from Illinois. He's playing for the Bears, and a former Bear, like myself, is one of his favorite players, or was.
If you could give him one bit of advice heading into the season about being dominant in his defense, what would that be?
Take the ball away and score on defense.
I saw that. I ain't gonna lie to you. We got to pull that clip and put that on here when you got that pick six, right? That little move you put on coming through the line, but whoop, right there, that was clean. That was clean. A little takeaway on that one, Lance.
I'm just letting you know that. Listen, I'm not new to this. Okay, I'm true to this. That was that. That's what that move was.
Hey, I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's keep the show going here, man. Hey, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. You're not getting this content anywhere else, and we've got so much content coming, Lance. I don't know if you got a chance to listen in to the coverage of this game over on ESPN 1000 on Sunday, but it was covered for 8 hours of football. We got to hear from George McCaskey. We got to hear from from Matt Eberflus. Got an 8-minute interview with Jason McKee and Justin Fields. So make sure that you guys are tuning in to ESPN 1000 for the coverage of the game. No disrespect to anybody, but the one thing that I do is, I'm not going to lie, I like how Joniak calls the game. I love how Adam Amin calls the game as well, but I like to mute the TV and sync it up with the radio. I'm that guy. You know what I mean? So that you get the good call, you get that great call of Joni. It's just, he's the voice of the Bears, man. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
He's definitely the voice of the Bears.
Let's keep this thing moving along, though, man. Third quarter is here.
Third quarter.
Velus Jones has muffed another punt. I get it. It's preseason. It's not that important. It doesn't hurt us in the long run, but this is something that
doesn't help you.
It was something that was a theme of this team last season. And it seems like he hasn't learned from what happened last season. Matt Eberflus tried to shoot him some bail with how the Titans punter's a great punter and it took a weird bounce. But when you hear all of that at the end of the day, I got to ask you, do you feel like Velus Jones' time in Chicago might be coming to an end?
Might be. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. When you get into those special teams and you work your tail off, you offensively and defensively, if things don't work out, offensively, and we have to punt that ball, but and defensively, we work your tail off when we get off the field. Those plays are too important. They're too important to risk, to have somebody that's high risk that may give the ball back.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know if he hurt himself, but he certainly didn't help himself. I do know. Now, I would assume that in the preseason, they want to see him back there as many times as possible to see if that was that a slight fluke, or if this happens again, we know that this is exactly who we thought he is.
It just feels, it sucks to say, because I've been on here saying that the entire time, right? I haven't been the biggest supporter of Velus Jones being on this team because of his age. You need to see production from him now. But I have given him credit. He's cooked in training camp. He's been an asset. He's looked really good. But I'm sure that you've seen this a ton throughout your long career. There's some guys that look great in practice, and when the lights come on, they're not that same guy.
They scatter like cockroaches, huh?
I didn't see that one coming. I'm not gonna lie to you. That one caught me off guard, Lance. With the smile and the spin in the chair. I mean, yeah. In if you want to use that analogy, yes. Like, I guess, you know what I mean. Like, it sucks to say, because it's like, that to me, if he doesn't get it done here because of how old he was when he came into the league, he's probably not going to get a huge opportunity from somewhere else. So I wanted him to be able to come out and succeed. But
how old is he?
I think Velus Jones is about to be 27 years old.
That's not old. That is not old.
as a second-year player in the NFL?
That's not. He's not old.
I mean,
I was just saying, like, he's 27 is not old.
I'm not saying it's old, but it's not good when you 27 as a second-year player and you keep fumbling the football.
Right. Well, we can't. That's not. I mean, the age is not it's. That's not
26. 26.
He's 26.
Yeah, he's 26.
The man is 20. He's young. He is young. He's a young man. He is a young man. Now, he shouldn't be dropping punts. You shouldn't be dropping punts, period. I don't care what age you are.
Right.
You don't drop punts. You know, you drop punts, it's going to get you cut. All right. But, you know, I'm sure that they're going to put him back. They need to test him as much as possible because if they continue to see a chink in his chain, he has to go. I don't care who he's cooking on training camp practices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only cooking you need to do is on a Traeger grill if you're dropping punts. Period.
But he's not old. Remember that. But he's not old.
He's not. Come on. I'm thinking. I'm like, he must be 32.
Hey, Lance, he a second-year player at 26. That's a little. It's old for where you want him to be when he would be coming up for a second contract.
26 is old to be in high school or college. All right, you know what I mean? A little old to be in college at this point, but that's a young 26. Shoot, you got a lot to do. You got a lot to do in this world.
What was he? He was a third-round pick, so he'd be getting his second contract when he's 28, 29, somewhere in there. Yeah. We'll see, man. I hope that he's
a receiver. He's a receiver type, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, obviously, and a special teamer. So those guys can last a lot longer than others because they don't have the wear and tear. They don't break down. They're not in the trenches.
True.
So, you know, it's one of those things too where, you know, he could as a receiver, you know, be beneficial to a team. As a kick returner, gunner, you know, he's beneficial. He's got value because of how many different ways you can use him.
Now, here's the one bit of bill that I will absolutely shoot Velus Jones, which I'm not reporting anything on none of this, but it's weird to me because I like to see people, when we draft them, we utilize them for what they did. Velus Jones never returned punts. High school, I think in high school he did, but in college and his entire time, he never returned punts. He got to the NFL and we were like, you're a punt returner, not our kick returner plays. That to me probably puts him a little bit behind the eight ball. I'm still not saying that he should be fumbling or none of that, but it's one of those things where if you're not used to that and you don't have a lifetime of being used to that, it's probably a tough thing to adjust to. No, you're not shooting him no bail on that one? You know?
I want to. I plead the fifth, man. I plead the fifth. Listen, I just
stop.
I love the game. I love playing football so much, you know, that if I were a kick returner and I had an opportunity professionally to be a punt returner, you better bet I'm going to catch every doggone punt. But, you know, that's coming my way because I know that the securing this football is more important than anything.
Yeah. You
know, so the first thing I need to do is secure this punt. And then I'm going to get loose. You know what I mean? I'm going to get into my Devin Hester mode.
Yeah.
But you know, I just can't see myself being able to use any kind of crutch when it comes to, hey, we're going to need you as a punt returner in the NFL.
Yeah.
All right. Like it's, you know, coach, I never did that. No, coach, I can do that too.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to figure it out.
I can do that. Yeah.
Oh, well,
that's where you need me.
I tried, Velus. I tried to shoot you some. Lance said, I can't shoot you no bail. You got to stay in there. Let's finish this one out as we head into the fourth quarter here. Appreciate you guys for showing love. We also do want to let you guys know that for the next preseason game versus the Colts, we will be having Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles in the third quarter of the broadcast live in the radio booth. So make sure that you tune in with us on that. Jeff Joniak, Tom Thayer will be reporting on that as well. So, I mean, you get nothing but football knowledge in that room right there. Joniak, Thayer, Poles, and Warren. Tune in. Make sure you guys are staying around for that one. We also, as we head into this fourth quarter, have joint practice this week, Lance. And I have a question for you because I believe Jason McKee was telling me this, definitely a former player, but I believe it was Jason. He said that a lot of times you can get more from the joint practices than you do from the preseason games because you're getting to see more, you're getting to do more with the ones versus theirs, you're game planning against them. What are you gaining from these joint practices?
Well, number one, it's a different, your one-on-ones. The first thing I want to think of is the one-on-ones. You're getting reps against, an opponent's best. So when I think about this, I think about when we had joint practices with the St. Louis Rams at the time. This St. Louis Rams team they were 3 years out of winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So they were well versed in everything that they do. You have Isaac Bruce, you have Torrey Holt, you have Marshall Faulk in here, and you get a chance not only to see how they do things, but you also I got to line up and cover Marshall Faulk in one-on-ones versus the running backs. I learned a lot. I learned that I probably shouldn't be covering Marshall Faulk.
Did you win that one, Lance? Did you win that matchup?
Marshall ran an unrunnable route, man. It was like, where do they run this at, man? Come on. Right?
An unrunnable route? That's what he ran.
It was a crazy route. The route was so crazy that when it was over, I went to my coach. I'm like, he said, he tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, don't worry, you will never see that route right there in the NFL. You'll never see that route, and I'm not even going to coach you on it. Like, coach, come on, man. That was like a quadruple move route. You know what I mean? Receivers don't even get that.
Marshall wanted to welcome you to the league. That's what that was.
That's what I'm guessing. You wanted to try to make me look like a fool, but I'm like, come on, quarterback doesn't have that much time, to be honest.
Not with y'all defensive line,
right.
He didn't. Do you feel like you get more from these practices than you do from the preseason game itself because you get more opportunity to go up against those guys?
Yeah, and there's a pride thing too. You know, I mean, we're wearing the C on our helmet. They're the Rams, or for the Bears now, it's with the Colts. There's a sense of pride in those reps too. If you're getting one-on-ones, offensive defensive line. It's every time the Bears win, they're tapping each other up. Every time the Colts win, so there's some added emotion to the practice as well, which is good, but it's also at the same time is controlled, and you don't have the crowd. You don't have to worry about it being one of those pressure cooker moments of a game. Yeah. So you get coaching points immediately. Your coaches are right there to correct everything that you guys are doing.
What's the most intense joint practice you had? Is it that Rams one, or did y'all have one where it was like, hey, bro, like y'all really trying to go at us right now? We not playing.
No, it was kind of the other way around because we were the young team and the Rams, it was them saying that about us. Like, oh, these youngsters, they're a young team. These suckers are going to go hard. They're going to try to do something every play. We were in the Super Bowl 3 years ago, man. Like, ease up, youngster, easy up,
That's why Marshall ran that route on you. You came through hitting people. He was like, hey, man, you got to relax, bro.
Yeah, but see, now you got to remember this too. So I'm in full pads. Marshall is in a jersey with 5 pads. Okay. Now we're on full pads, but Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce are in thigh pad and jersey with a helmet. It's like they forced a two-hand touch on themselves, but everybody else is live. Now you got to, these guys were very well decorated, and they, I'm not saying they didn't deserve that kind of treatment, but they made sure that they were treated that way.
Was they a little worried about getting hit out there? Is that what we saying? They was a little worried about that boom coming from that Bears defense? Oh, they were going to make sure that there was not going to be any contact whatsoever. They was giving them quarterback treatment? Y'all didn't even have that back then. They just didn't quarterback. And I think this is my second year, I think, in the league. I'm sure it was. It was Lovey's first year. And, I'm
I'm more worried about getting yelled at, by my coach from my alignments, and because this is year one, and everything is semi micromanaged, and then I get out, and I get that Marshall Faulk route, and I'm like, here we go. Here we go, boy. This has been a day I can't get right, and then we get this route.
I love that the coach is just like, I ain't even gonna coach you on that. I can tell you.
You'll never, Briggs, you will never see that route again.
I love that. I really do. Because it's just like, no, don't be trying to make me look bad out here in front of my coaches, man. Come on, Marshall. Do better, Marshall. Hall of Fame. You can't stop it. But no, I'm. If you could take one thing away from a joint practice, right? Because we're all looking for that nuance. But what was the one thing that you guys wanted to take away when you left the joint practice that you want to see this Bears team take away from this Colts practice?
Camaraderie. I felt like we became closer, because we always rallied around each other. There was you have this your antennas are up, so as soon as you hear some sort of scuffling, anything like that, you're headed over to protect your brothers.
Yeah.
And I remember on one of our joint practices, obviously there's always going to be some sort of scuffle.
Of course.
Scuffle, but ours didn't get taken to that level. It was handled respectfully. Yeah. And when we were together as a group, that was one of the first times that we were all able to hear, Tommy Harris sing. He got in front of our group. Man. The guys got pipes, man. And in front of our group, man. And as intense as we might have been, for those practices, it really relaxed us and sang in together, gave them a backup. And like I said, for us, we bonded. We bonded a lot closer because we had to rely on us in a practice field where we were sharing another team.
What was the song? What was the song that got put out there at the time?
I don't remember.
Was this? Was he taking it back with Temptations, an old school joint, or was it a modern day like Beyonce at that time?
Nah, you know what? He grew up. He pastor's son. But I don't really know. I don't remember. But I do know that he sang it well. Whatever he sang.
Hey, we're gonna have to get him in the booth and see this. Now we gotta see this one. I want to hear Tommy belt it out there, man. I need you on backup though. You said you joined in. You said you had the backup right there. I need Lance on backup with that.
I was in the backup choir.
The back of the backup. You was in the back of the backup.
Yes. Oh yeah. The whole choir of us voices. Yes.
You were the Hummer. You were the Hummer. Hey, that's another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast. Not the hand. Oh, Lance caught the Holy Ghost on the pod. That's another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll keep you covered the entire time as we continue to watch what this Bears team is going to have for us moving forward. As we head toward the season, we've got nothing but nonstop coverage here over at ESPN Chicago. So we appreciate you guys for showing love. Follow us on everything at ESPN 1000, ESPN Chicago. Me at Pat the Designer. Lance at Lance Briggs. By the way, everybody's just now tweeting you now, saying when am I going to get my follow from Lance Briggs? What's going on with that, dog?
It's man, it's trending. All right, it's trending.
This the thing now? Is this the thing? It's
trending. All right.
I love how you gave him a day. You were like on day 55, and he immediately tweets back day 55 of tweeting Lance Briggs. He's like, "Come on, dog. We're not doing this every day." Hey man, y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Big Bear Don. Peace.
Yeah.